everyone, it's Julia Elise. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. How are you? You should subscribe by clicking this red button, or if you're on your phone, it's down below. You know where it is. So today I'm doing my very first story time, and I don't want to be filming this video because my life is not worth talking about, but I've gotten a couple of requests to do a story time, and I'm like, I need to do one, but it has to be appropriate for young viewers, blah, 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 blah. So I decided to do the story time of a very awkward and horrible time of my life. The time I had my first kiss. And if you are a young viewer and you're watching this video for advice on your first kiss, wait till the end because I will have some motherly advice for you, even though I am only 20 years old, but I do think that I wish I had someone telling me about kissing when I was that age. So without further ado, let's get on into this very first story time on my channel. First and foremost, we need to have a code name for the guy that I'm going to be talking about in this video, so we're going to call him Stanley because I don't know any Stanleys in my life, so no one's going to think this video is about them, which is good. So Stanley is the name of the guy I had my first kiss with, and let's just backtrack a little bit. So I started dating Stanley, this is such a horrible name, Stanley in 7th grade. This was the time that I was going to be making my bat mitzvah. So if there's a time in my life where I think people wanted to be my boyfriend, it would be in 7th grade because I'm like the only Jew in my area. Like me and my friend Brooke are like the only Jews from our high school, well, middle school at the time. So everyone kind of wanted that invite, you know, so the way to get an invite if you're a dude is to, you know, buy me flowers and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I was in something I like to call the Jew crew in 7th grade because when you're making your bat mitzvah or your bar mitzvah, you spend so much time at synagogue, so that kind of becomes your social circle. I was also involved in like youth groups and stuff, so these people were my Jew crew. Like we were great friends with all the people from synagogue, and they all went from different schools around the area. So with that being said, that also opened up an entire social circle from other schools of people that they were friends with that were not necessarily Jewish. So that is how I met Stanley. I met him through my best guy friend at the time. Let's call him Mark. I don't know any Mark. So I was really great friends with Mark and my friend Melissa. I'm not gonna give her a code name because we're still cool. So Mark and Melissa were my two greatest friends at synagogue, and they both went to a neighboring school in our school district. Not our school district, but like in our sports district, if that makes sense. So I met Stanley through Mark, and I thought this guy was like so cute, and he is really good looking. He was super cute. I was really feeling him. He had braces, I had braces, so that wasn't a problem. Like he was super cute, and I was hoping that this would be the guy I had my first real kiss with. A little bit of a side note, I had my actual first kiss with Mark outside of the synagogue, playing truth or dare, but that's another story. That doesn't count. Mark and Melissa set up a date for me and Stanley. We went ice skating, and he was actually the guy I first ever held hands with. So I held hands with Stanley, and I just had butterflies. I knew that this guy was special. Like we were hitting it off. Like things were really good until my dad saw us holding hands, and then he got really mad because I was only 12 or 13 at the time. I was just about to make my bat mitzvah. Still not a woman yet. I would have been a woman the next month, but you know what I'm saying. So I started telling Mark and Melissa that I thought that Stanley was going to be my first kiss. I really liked him. We were actually like, we said I love you already, and so I think that I knew he was going to be my first kiss, but I didn't know if he wanted to kiss me back, if you know what I'm saying. So Mark asked Stanley if he wanted to kiss me, and he said yes. So we began planning our Valentine's Day extravaganza. So we went to Mark's house on Valentine's Day. It was like this entire group date. He had like a couple friends from his school. I know Melissa came. I think my friend Lily came. So yeah, it was just like a huge group date Valentine's Day. And we were all hanging out in his family room watching Holes, which I had to get these details from Hannah because I totally forgot. I don't really like that movie, so I was just kind of sitting there staring at Stanley being like, oh, I hope this is the day. If my first kiss is on Valentine's Day, this is gonna be so romantic. I saw Mark and Stanley texting, and I knew they were probably texting about me, but I wasn't really sure. So then all of a sudden, Mark, Melissa, and everyone else stood up and left me and Stanley alone in the room. And so I kind of knew that that was going to be the moment of my first kiss, but it just felt so like forced, if that makes sense. Like I wanted it to be like maybe a kiss goodbye or something, but it felt so forced. But you know, I don't know. I feel like that's how I should have known I wasn't ready to be kissing a boy for the first time, that it felt really forced. Stanley whispered in my ear, like, he said, like, "I'm so sorry, they're so awkward." And I was like, "It's okay." And then we kissed and it was nice. It was like actually a good first kiss, and I'm like proud of that. Like, our braces didn't get hooked. I don't even know if that's possible. It was like nice and slow, and it wasn't like a peck, but it wasn't like a make out sesh. Like, it was really, really nice first kiss. So I will give him a 10 out of 10. Like, good job, Stanley. You were a good kisser. He was a year older, so I feel like he had experience and I didn't, but whatever, it was good. I'll give it that. That was probably the only time that year that me and Stanley kissed, because he ended up breaking up with me on AIM a couple weeks later after my bat mitzvah, because I don't really remember the reason why, but we ended up getting back together when I was in high school. But that is a whole nother story, because Stanley became a really not nice boy after our first kiss and when we got back together, but I'm not gonna get into that today. And I also must add that Stanley is on a full ride to college now. He is doing good. I haven't talked to him. I just know that he is on a full ride and he's really, really smart, and I never saw that coming, so good for you, Stanley. Okay, so that's pretty much it about my first kiss, but I want to kind of share some advice if you are a younger viewer and you haven't had your first kiss yet. Do not let your friends tell you when you should be kissing boys, when you should be doing anything with boys. It is your business and it is your body. If you don't want to have your first kiss until your wedding day, wait till your wedding day. Respect that. I wish I waited, but I didn't. Your first kiss, I know may not sound like a big deal, but it is something that you can't get back. So if you feel like forced or pressured or whatever, don't do it. It is not worth it. You'll look back like me and be like, okay, that was awkward, that was forced. You did not need to do that. Don't let your friends pressure you. Don't let the boy you're with pressure you. If a boy loves you and respects you, your friends love or respect you, they're not going to force you to do anything you're not ready for. So just keep that in mind when making your decision to have your first kiss. And I hope that you don't look back like me and be like, that was weird, that was weird. And he broke up with me on AIM, like what? Okay, so that is it for my story time of my first kiss. It's nothing too juicy or spectacular, but this is the only story time like I could really think of, and it's always fun to kind of like dig back and think about the first time you like kissed a boy or hugged a boy and held hands, and that was Stanley for me. I do have more story times that have to involve with Stanley's. If you enjoy these types of videos and if you want to see more story times, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and again, if you are new, please subscribe. That would make me the happiest girl in the world. I hope you guys have a great day and an even better week, and I'll catch up with you guys later.